Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the 1st of October, 2025. So we're going to continue our discussion. Last time we finished descriptive financial analytics up to portfolio returns and portfolio risk. Today, in preparation for machine learning, because in machine learning you have to understand multiple linear regression. We're going to, and I know some of you have not had any subject on FinArts or FinStar, so we will have to have this discussion. As we go along, I'm going to share. I should have. I actually forgot to copy the notes. Okay, maybe let me. Wait. Okay, as I was saying, we're going to have, let's say, a brief backgrounder on regression. This will not be a deep, in-depth study of regression. It's merely for us to appreciate what regression is in preparation for machine learning. Okay, so here the objective is we have to know the fundamental principles of regression and its application in finance. So that's why the lesson that we're going to have is more uh, unlike in FinArts where the application of regression is more varied. Here our focus will be more on finance. So we're going to learn how to estimate and interpret regression coefficients, fitted values, residuals, and then we're going to at least understand what the goodness of fit is, and then understand R squared and adjusted R squared, and apply linear regression model to estimate beta use in the capital asset pricing model. Show of hands, please. Have you discussed the concept of CAPM in your other subjects, please? I'm pretty sure that you have discussed CAPM, capital asset pricing model. Okay, good. All right. So we'll just reinforce our learning. Okay, and this is more of application of understanding the CAPM using R. Okay, and using quant mode. Of course, when we use quant mode, we will not be able to make use of Philippine data, so we cannot download the PSEI. So we'll just focus on American data that's listed in quant mode. Anyway, the concept is the same. So in the Philippine market, if you're doing computing for the beta in the Philippine market, we use the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. If it's American market, then we use the Standard and Poor's, and the proxy for that is the SPY, GSPC or SPY, which is an exchange traded fund. So we're going to gain a basic understanding of how regression can be extended to multi-factor models. So this one is an extension of the basic CAPM, and then of course interpret the output for financial data. All right. So quickly, what is regression? We have to understand what dependent and independent variables are. And in a nutshell, regression analysis is a method, statistical method, where you try to establish the association or relationship between a dependent variable, your variable of interest, also called your response or outcome variable, and one or more independent variable, also called your predictor, your features in machine learning. Independent variables are called features or explanatory variables. The dependent variable y, as I said, it's the variable of interest. It's what we're trying to predict or explain. Okay. For example, as a financial example, we're trying to explain stock returns, a bond price, or corporate earnings. Okay. The dependent variable are the variables that's used in order to explain your dependent variable. And what can they be? They can be market returns, interest rates, company size, etc. So these are the variables that we're using in order to explain our dependent variable. So simple linear regression, you only have one dependent variable and one independent variable. So we're going to start with a simple linear regression. Okay, one independent and one dependent. If there are many, call it multiple linear regression. Okay, so I gave this also to you. This is LaTeX class. Let's just take a look at this. Okay, so this is our equation. Okay, y y sub I is equal to beta null plus beta 1 x sub I plus plus epsilon sub I. Your y sub I is your dependent variable. Your x sub I is your independent variable. Your beta null is your intercept. Okay, here beta null is the intercept or the constant term. Okay, it is the expected value of y when x is equal to 0. So if you take a look at this, if x is equal to 0, so this, which means that if your independent variable is equal to 0, then your y, okay, is equal to your beta. Okay, so the beta is the intercept. Okay, beta 1, on the other hand, is the slope coefficient. So this pertains to the marginal effect of a 1 unit increase in your x on y. So later on, we'll have the regression output, and we will interpret it as for every 1 unit increase in x, there's a corresponding beta 1 units increase in your y. So it's called also the marginal effect of a 1 unit increase in x on y. Okay, and see here, it is the expected change in y for a 1 unit change in x. And epsilon sub I is a very important term. It is the residual or error term. Okay, so we have the actual value y, we have the actual value of x. When we create a model, we will generate the what we call the predicted value for your dependent variable. And oftentimes your predicted value will not be the same as your model value. Your predicted value will not be the same as your predicted value here. The difference, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The actual value will not be the same as your predicted value. Okay, and in order to make this equal, we have to add this residual so that this is your predicted value, this is your actual value. Any difference between them will be allocated or will be uh, defined as your residual, okay, in order to maintain the balance here, equality. Error term class or residual for observation I representing the unexplained variation. Okay, there are certain assumptions of the classical linear regression. The objective is to create a model here. When you say create the model, you estimate the beta null and the beta 1. Okay, okay, I hope that's clear. When you create a model, you have to come up with the beta null and the beta 1. Okay, that's what we mean by estimating the model, because without beta null and beta 1, you don't have any model. Okay, so the question is, what should be the value of beta null and beta 1? So that's what is very important in linear regression model. And there are, uh, obviously, there are, okay, criteria that should be met in order to make beta null and beta 1 acceptable. So we're saying here that OLS, which is the method used in coming up with the linear model, the objective is for the OLS estimates. What are the OLS estimates? Your beta null and beta 1. To be what? To be unbiased, consistent, and efficient. Okay? Or others would call this blue. Okay? Blue. The goal is to make them the blue, yung mga betas natin, beta null, beta 1. If there's multiple linear regression, may beta 2, beta 3, etc. So what does blue mean? The best linear, unbiased estimators. Okay? Any violation of this, okay, might affect the validity of your model. Okay? So this is very important. And in order for this to be met, there are certain conditions. Okay? For in our case, kasi finance tayo, no, ang focus natin are more on intuitive implications, which we're going to see in a while. Okay. Number one assumption is linearity. What do you mean by linearity? Dapat yung relation ni y at saka ni x, dapat linear. It doesn't make sense, for example, if you plotted your y here, your dependent variable, and your x here, and then the relation is such that ganito siya. Okay. Medyo ganyan yung relationship nila. So it doesn't make sense for us to create a linear model. Okay? Kasi parang polynomial siya eh. Or if your relationship is like this, quadratic yan, di ba? Quadratic. So why will you make a linear model out of this relationship? Di ba? For example, if the relationship is equal to y is equal to x squared, di ba? So it doesn't make sense to create y is equal to beta null plus beta 1x. Okay, bakit tayo maglilinear kung the real relationship between y and x is quadratic or polynomial or whatever nonlinear relationship. So dapat si y at saka si x linear dapat. Next is the error terms. No? When you generate the linear model, yung linear model natin y is equal to beta null plus beta 1 x x1 plus epsilon sub I. Okay? This is called your residual. And when you check your model, you're actually diagnosing your model. Okay? And then you have to do diagnostic analysis. And the most important part in diagnostic analysis is looking at your residuals. Here it says independence of error terms. What does that mean? Yung residual natin at observation number 1 should not be correlated with the residual with combination with observation number 2, with observation number 3, etc. No? Hindi sila pwedeng correlated. Otherwise kasi, okay, let me erase this. If that happens, then if you plot your residuals, if they're related, then baka ganito mangyari sa residuals natin. Okay, na-replant natin ganyan. These are the residuals. So ito obviously class, may correlation sila, no? Yung observation number 1 is correlated with observation number 2 kasi it increases, it keeps on increasing, right? So ito class, this is not acceptable. Ano yung acceptable class na ano? Ano yung acceptable na hindi linear yung relationship nila? Okay. So ito class, these are the residuals. Take a look at these residuals class. Apparently, walang relationship sila, no? They don't have any relationship at all. Ito, may trend kasi, may relationship yan. So, that's what we mean, class, na ano na wala dapat relationship. Yung ano, wala dapat, where's that? To, no? Independence. Ilagyan ko nga ng space to. Here. Independence class. No autocorrelation. Okay. And usually this happens for a time series data, but I will take a look at that in the future. And then, what I said a while ago, class, is homoscedasticity. You remember I drew a line, class, dito. Let me redraw this. Here. And you can see here that the variation of your residuals is constant. Ito yung mean niya. Mean, this is the mean of your residuals. You notice that the variation is constant. Okay? There is a violation of homoscedasticity, which is called heteroscedasticity, when your residuals behave this way. Okay, tingnan nyo, may spreading out, no? May spreading out na yung residuals natin. That means your variance is no longer constant. At this point, at this range, ito yung variance niya. At this point, ito yung variance niya. Lower values of your predictors, ito yung variance. So this is non-constant variance, and this phenomenon is called heteroscedasticity. Okay, so that's another violation. And also this one, normality of the residuals. When you plot the residuals, they should be normally distributed. And lastly, no multicollinearity. So multicollinearity, that's for multiple linear regression. It means that your independent variables should not be correlated. Your independent variables should not be correlated. Okay. That's what we mean by no multicollinearity. And the method that's used in determining the regression line is called ordinary least squares. Let me just quickly illustrate that. So assume we have this. Let's assume this is your y, this is your x, and then we created a scatter plot. Okay. This is scatter plot of y and x. What I meant by that is this is y sub I, x sub I. Sorry, x sub I, baliktad. Cartesian pala to. X sub I, y sub I. Okay, you write first your x. Okay, so it looks like the relationship is linear. So mukhang okay tayo dun. Now, ang question, ano yung regression line? Will it be this line? Or will it be this line? Or will it be this line? Or will it be this line? So that's a question. Because the parameters, your beta null and your beta 1 in this case, which is needed in order to create your regression line, is unique. Ano ibig sabihin ng unique? Ibig sabihin ng unique, okay, you cannot have more than 2 values of that. Uy, naku. Sorry. You cannot have more than 2 values. What do I mean by this? Yung regression line nito, class, iisa lang yan. Can only be one. Sorry, hindi straight line, ha? Okay. Let's say this is the regression line. And it can only be one line. Hindi siya pwedeng pag ganito, hindi siya pwedeng pag ganito. Okay? There's only one unique regression line. And that line has the quality of, okay, so if this is our regression line, this one, class, this is your actual data, and this is your predicted data. This is called your residual. So this is residual, let's say 1. And as many data points, if you have let's say 100 data points, then you'll have 100 residuals. Some residuals, okay, may kulang ko dito, let's say may value dito. Some residuals could be very, 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 very small. Kasi the actual data point is almost very close to the regression line, like this one, no? So, maliliit yung residuals niya. The others could be 0. But there are others that are quite large, no? Large residuals ito. Malaking mga residuals. So I'm dropping a vertical line from the actual data point to the regression line. Okay. Now, so there are, let's say, 100 observations now, no? So if you sum up all the residuals from 1 up to n, which is 100 in our case, sum up natin lahat ng E sub I, mga residuals natin, okay? You will always get 0, class. That's the nature of your regression line. The regression line, class, will always yield a residual, the sum of residual, to be 0. Okay? Because I just got water quickly. Okay, thank you for waiting. So we said, class, that the sum of the residuals will be always equal to 0. So that's why in determining the regression line, we don't use this measure kasi it will always be 0 eh. Wala tayong makukuhang information doon. So rather what we do is we sum up the residuals squared. Okay? Squared residuals. Kasi syempre, class, may mga residuals na negative, di ba? May mga negative yung below the regression line, positive will be above the regression line. Kasi ang formula niyan, actual value y sub I minus predicted value, and predicted value is denoted this way, my hat, no? Actual value minus predicted value, that's your residual. And sabi natin, the sum of this, which is the sum of this one, is equal to 0. Okay, so what we do is we square the residuals. So your negative values, class, when you square it, magiging positive na. So the sum of this will not be 0. Okay, hindi siya 0. Okay, and the method used is what sabi natin, OLS, di ba? OLS stands for ordinary. Ito importante, class. LS, least. Least squares. The squares here mean ito, yung residuals. And least means when you add the residuals, okay, from I is equal to 1, I is equal to 1, up to n, no, kung ilan yung observations natin, okay, it should be the minimum squared, the sum of the squares. Pinakamaliit siya. Kasi kunyari, if I get another line here, I'll use a red one. Dito, gumawa akong line dito, a regression line. You'll notice, class, yung mga residuals siya, ang lalaki na ng mga residuals ito. Yan, no? Oh, diba? Ang medyo malapit lang yung dito, no? But to the rest, class, yeah, take a look. These are your residuals. If this was our regression line. Okay, and definitely it will not give us the minimum least squares. So, okay, that can be solved using differential calculus, no? And also matrix algebra. Okay, so butin lang sa atin, we don't have to reinvent the wheel and use differential calculus in order to solve it, to solve for the beta null and the beta 1. Okay, but you can use tools like this. No? All right. So ito, class, no? Ordinary least squares, which is minimizing the squared residuals. So OLS is the most common method for estimating the coefficients. In our case, beta null and beta 1. Beta null is the intercept. Beta 1 is the slope coefficient of the independent variable. Iisa lang kasi simple regression lang tayo. As I said, it works by finding the line that minimizes the sum of the square differences between the observed class y sub I and the predicted value, y hat. Okay, so take a look at this. So here, di ba, sabi natin, minimize natin. The regression line will be the one that minimizes the, yan, here, minimizes the squared of the residuals. And sabi natin, ang residuals class is your actual value. Okay, actual value, ito yung mga data natin, di ba? Minus, this is your predicted value. Okay, ang liit naman ng hat nito, wait ha. Sandali, saan yan? Is equal to, let me, very small hat. Okay, palitan natin class yung hat natin. Clear ko muna. Hindi ako pang makapag-type. Dito pa pala to. Asan ang hat? Epsilon squared, sum I to n, hat to. Wide hat. Can use the wide hat class yan. Yan, mas bigger, no? Mas appropriate. And also this one, may hat pa ako nakita dito. Ito. Wide hat. Okay? Medyo hindi nga lang straight. But anyway, okay na yan. So, back to our discussion. This one class is your actual value minus your predicted value squared, which is exactly your residuals. No? So, may mali na naman dito. Ito. Paki-correct lang class kung may mali din sa inyo. Sum, tapos dapat ano to? May underscore there. Sum from I is equal to 1 to n of, what is this class? Okay, we have to understand this equation. Huh? This is the actual value. Okay? May data tayo, di ba? Minimodel natin data natin. Y sub I should be given. No? Alam natin yan. It could have been obtained. Kung secondary data yan, we got it from the internet, we got it from sources like Yahoo, okay, from Bloomberg, etc. Secondary. Kung primary data yan, then based on survey yan. No? We conducted a survey, tapos nakuha natin yung data niyan from the survey. Okay? Wherever we got it from, whether secondary or primary data, given na yan data na yan, nakuha na natin yan. Okay. And what's this class? What's this? Di ba ito class yung ano natin, yung intercept. Ito yung slope natin. This is your regression line class. In other words, this is your predicted value. Ito. Ba? So, kunin natin si beta null, kunin natin si beta 1, i-multiply mo yung corresponding na x niya, makukuha natin yung predicted value. Okay? Predicted value ito yun. Which is the same as this one. Yan. So, link yung mga yan ha. And then, di ba, ano to class? This is the residual kasi actual value minus the predicted value and then squared. Alright? Okay, so this is how you really solve for the tapos isosolve yan class since unknown to beta null at beta 1. You use integral calculus. Okay, they have differential calculus class or matrix algebra. Pareho masosolve yan, no? Okay. Sige, let's continue now. So umabot tayo man lang sa actual. Okay. So I leave you to read this first class. Okay, kasi wala pa tayong example, no? I-implement na natin dito. Here. Okay, so we will now make use of the LM function class. Okay. Okay. Okay, nabanggit ko na to. Okay. So, pakiload yung mga packages. I didn't give that to you. I'm sure you can. Kasi ginamit na natin si Quant Mode, si Performance Analytics, si ggplot2. Okay, kindly load them. And once you're done, kindly please chat. Okay, thank you. Good. All right, thank you. Okay, so I don't have to explain this to you, class. You know this code. We used this last time. Get symbols from the quant mode package. Okay, let me just check if I loaded the packages already. Yeah, I have. Okay, and then here we're downloading two stacks, no? Si Spy at saka si Apple. Spy is representative of uh, uh, si S&P 500, S&P 500 class. So it can be used as a proxy for the market. In the Philippines, ang proxy natin for the market is the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. Okay, it can represent the whole Philippine Stock Exchange. In the US, pwedeng si Standard and Poor's, no? And yung buong Standard and Poor's, ano siya, GSPC yung code. Ito naman class, SPY, it's an exchange traded fund. It represents also Standard and Poor's. All right, so we're downloading SPY and Apple. Source is equal to Yahoo. Date natin 2020, 0101, and then 2024, 12/31. Auto.assign is equal to true. So that R will give. Okay, run natin to class. So as you know, it will now create two objects, Spy and Apple. Okay, so that's now, uh, we learned this already, di ba? Before, itong pag-create na ng returns, no? And this time, let's use return that calculate. Kasi dito binaliktad ko class. Now, these are from performance analytics. Okay, I want you to write this. And here, relevant to NA.omit. Okay, it's relevant. Sige, maybe for discussion, I'll just remove this muna, no? Tanggalin natin tong NA.omit. So I'm going to, okay, but I'm going to return that calculate. But you know already that if we run this, yung return that calculate, yung first row will be NA kasi nga si return that calculate, it's assuming that walang previous value, so mag-NA talaga siya. Okay, let me do that. Okay, and SPY returns. Okay, di ba? May NA. Unlike yung daily returns from quant mode. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And unlike the daily returns ni quant mode class, na nagbibigay siya ng automatic na zero, which is, shall we say, technically wrong, no? Okay, so now let me go back to what I originally gave you. What I originally did, hindi ko pala binigay sa inyo to, no? NA.omit. There. Okay, and then we have to close this. Notice then class, kay daily returns, ang ano dito, type, no? Type is equal to log. Kay performance analytics na return that calculate, its method is equal to log. So if I run this, okay, and then once again view, ito na lang. Yeah, view, use SPY returns. Walang NA na, no? So automatically, we were able to remove it. So ganun din si Apple returns class, control enter. Okay. So we now have SPY returns and Apple returns. Okay, we're going to use the CAPM model class. Uh, do you recall CAPM class? Capital Asset Pricing Model. Would you recall class? What is Capital Asset Pricing Model? Okay, anyway, I'm sure you know that class. I-review nyo na lang, no? Kasi we will, okay, my answer. Yeah, used for valuation. You're correct, no? Ginagamit siya for valuation. Pero anong kinocompute sa capital asset pricing model? What's computed? What is computed? Yeah, okay. Yung excess returns ang kinocompute dyan, no? Yung excess returns yan, kailangan for valuation. Okay? So, yung capital asset model class, it's actually a simple linear regression model. So, ibig sabihin nun, makukompute natin yung beta niyan. Okay? We can compute for the beta. Okay? And that's what we're going to do now. Okay? So, I did not give this to you class, so I want you to write it. Kasi may dalawang objects tayo, no? Apple returns at saka SPY returns. So we're going to create an object called combined returns. I-merge natin sila. We're going to merge Apple returns, SPY returns. And then all is equal to false means na if there are uh, conflicting dates, no? Which is hindi naman totoo kasi yung data natin pare-pareho yan, no? Ang ilalagay lang yung mga common to both. And besides, wala nang mga NA yan. And besides, they all come from Yahoo. Pero just in case you get data tapos may mga differences, then you can use this all is equal to false. Okay, so I'll give you a few seconds. And then let's change the column names. Okay, gawin natin apple.returns at saka spy.returns. And then let's check kung may NA ba. We can use this function sum is that NA ng combined returns. Uh, Paki-chat please ha kung done na ha. You done? Good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to run this and we're going to create an object, an XS object also because your Apple returns and SPY returns are XS object. Okay. And the column name is, it still copied it from the original one. So we're going to change this and make it Apple returns and control enter. Okay, let's see. Combine returns. There you go. Apple that returns, Pi that returns. Okay. And then if we see if there are missing values, wala naman, huh? Okay. And this is just double checking. In case there are, we can use this. Okay. So no, anyway, this was redundant. No need for this because there are no NA values. Okay. Now this one, I think I'm going to share this with you because it's quite long. We don't want to, okay, to save on time class. Just copy this, and we'll just take a look at it. Okay, see how ggplot is used? Now, notice that it started with as.data frame because combined returns is an XTS object, and ggplot will not work in an XTS object. So here we're converting it as that data frame combined returns. Notice that you are not actually converting, you're not creating an object, or you're not converting the object combined returns into an X, into a data frame. You're only converting it in this instance. Okay, but the one that's here, it will still be an XS object. I hope that's clear. Okay, and then aesthetics is AES will tell R how will we map the data. So we're telling R that the x-axis will be SPY returns. Okay, notice that the market is SPY. Okay, the market will always be plotted on the x-axis. So please remember that. On the y-axis is your asset. So as Moises said a while ago, this is used for valuation. So in fact, you can use this to value Apple. And that's why it's called capital asset. Uh, um, wait, yeah, capital asset pricing model for valuing assets. Okay, and then your Y, which is your asset, is your Apple returns. So this is your market. This is your proxy for the market. Market means the whole population of the stocks. Okay, and then plus. Notice how ggplot is created, no? May plus at the end. Then here, geom point tells us anong klaseng uh, what type of graph, what type of figure, what type of plot will be made. So geom point means scatter plot points. Okay. So you can see here 3 layers immediately. This is the image. This is the data to be plotted. This is defining what your X and Y axis is. And then this is the plot. What type of plot? And alpha is used for jittering. I'll not explain that now. And then color is equal to blue. Okay. Uh, okay. And then plus, again, plus. So you notice ggplot is all about layering. You layer your data, your plot. Initially, you identify the data and then identify the axis. Okay, the mapping, and then the type of image, the type of plot, and then you can give the title, then you can give the labels for the X and the Y, and then theme. So you notice there are several layers here. Okay, you can put here, you can put this one here. Okay, you can see that it all ends in pluses. Do not put the plus at the beginning. Okay, because from last time I was doing this, uh, nag-error kapag nasa harap yung plus, no? It should be at the end. Plus, plus, plus. Okay? So now you can see so it's just a layering of the different elements of your figure. Okay, let's run this. And there you go. Okay? So on the y-axis is your data, is your stock, is your asset, Apple daily returns. And then on your x-axis is your market. Okay? Already you can see here that there is a positive relationship between your asset and your market. Okay, and you would have guessed that the regression line would, of course, look like a line, okay, with a positive slope. All right. So let's now, this one you can write on your own. With the plot now, we can guess already that most probably your regression line will look like this. Most probably it will look like this. No? All right. Just estimating, it should be somewhere here. where the residual squared, these are the residuals. You notice that there are many points on the line, which means that the residuals will be zero. Many points will have very small residuals, especially the ones that are in this area. Okay, the ones that are quite outside, they're the ones that will have bigger residuals. Okay, so let's now create a regression. Okay, so we said that the equation is y sub I is equal to beta null plus beta 1 x sub I plus epsilon sub I. So let's create now. It's quite a long name. I should have changed this. Anyway, regression data frame. Okay, I'll not change it because I used it several times already here. All right, but I should have used a simpler because this is quite long. So I'm now creating an object that's now a data frame and not an XTS object. And I'm creating this object LM model, and then we're using LM. So this is a very powerful function in R class, linear model. And what's a syntax class? Take a look at this. Your dependent variable, okay, Apple returns associated with associated with, okay, the independent variable. Notice that the independent variable is your market. Okay, if you do the same for, let's say, you would want to value Jollibee, your Jollibee will be on the y-axis, and your Philippine Stock Exchange will be your x-axis. So the market should be the x-axis. Okay, and then here, plus it tells us what's your data here. So take note that we created first this object, regression data frame, and then it's coming from the combined returns. It's the same. Okay, we just converted it into a data frame. Let's run this first. Control Enter. Okay. And i-view natin sa regression. Ito, no? Here. Yan, kasi ninyo. No? Saan na yun? Bakit ano? Wait, structure, regression. Data frame, but I'm surprised, huh? Kasi the index is still this one. Okay, let me check that out, class, because pag na-convert na into a data frame yan, okay, dapat hindi na to yung index eh. But anyway, maybe nagbago sila ng ano, no? Because these things keep on evolving. So baka ngayon, pwede na yung data frame na yung index, ganun din yung day din. Okay, maybe there was an improvement or an update. But anyway, so ang importante sa atin itong dalawa, Apple returns at saka SPY returns. Right? So let's now create our linear model. LM Apple returns, regress on SPY returns. Control Enter. All right. And then, so let's first take a look at LM model. No? Ito, yes. LM model. So it's not a LM model, the object itself. It's not a vector. Ba? Iba-ibang laman nito, no? Neither is it a data frame. And as you know by now, this is a list. So anong laman nito? Andito yung coefficients niya. Okay, tinan mo dalawa. Andiyan yung intercept, ito, at saka andito yung slope. Right? Tapos, tinan nyo to class residuals. Ayan. So what are these residuals? What are those residuals class? Evaluate lang natin, no? Oops, sorry. Residuals. Ito, no? Yan, for example. So, di ba ano yung data natin? Ang data, yung dependent variable natin is Apple returns, di ba? Apple, AA, AAPL, AAPL, ret, ito. Apple ret class. And then kunin lang natin yung first observation ni Apple ret. 1. Sorry. O pwede rin class. Kasi si Apple returns, pareho lang ni ano yan, di ba? Ni combined returns, no? Okay, so I'm just going to get the first observation ni Apple returns. If I run this class, ito siya, di ba? Ito. This is the first observation. Ito yung actual value natin, no? Or kunin natin class dun sa combined returns. Tingnan nyo, combined returns, dollar, kay Apple returns, no? Tapos kunin natin yung first observation. Di ba? Pareho lang, no? Are you following me, class? Okay. All right. So what we want, class, is to get the predicted value. I-compare natin si Apple returns kay predicted value. So ano ba yung predicted value natin? Ang predicted value natin, class, is this intercept, no? So paano natin makukuha itong ano, class, itong intercept na to? LM model, coefficients, no? Diba? So yung coefficients natin, dalawa yan. Itong intercept at saka itong yung slope. Kung kunin natin yung una, okay, you'll get the intercept, no? Ulitin ko. Tapos you can see how you can extract the values from the output, no? Okay, control enter. Yan, returns. All right, I'm teaching this class kasi you can you can show, class. We can compute for the residuals either by manually copying the formula or extracting the values. So sige, i-compute muna natin, class, yung ano, yung predicted value. Ano yung predicted value, class? Given the first observation. Diba? It's equal to the intercept, which is this one, 0.003, plus the slope, beta 1, 1.18983, times your x1. Okay? Yung x1, yung value ng x1. Kasi i-compare natin sa y sub 1. Ito yung y sub 1 natin, yung actual value ni Apple. Ngayon, i-compute natin yung predicted, no? So let's call it pred 1 na lang, no? Alt minus, which is equal to, again, ano yung ano natin? Actually dito dapat, sandali lagyan natin plus ng ano, no? Para mas ano tayo, intercept. Para practice na rin natin sa R natin, no? Yan, no? Tapos, yung isa naman, yung slope, no? Hindi, gawin natin, dapat beta 1. Mas maganda beta 1. Beta 1, no? Alt minus, which is this one. Control C, Control V. Okay? So let's create these two objects. Gawin natin to beta null para mas consistent tayo. Beta null. Okay. Run this, Control Enter. And then you'll see that yung beta null at saka yung beta 1, yung mga values na to. Okay, so predicted one class, pred one alt minus is equal to beta null plus beta 1 times ano? Yung x1 natin. Ano ba yung x1 natin, class? Copy natin to. Control C, Control V. Oh. Dollar, yan. Spy returns. Diba? And then it's only the first value. Take a look at that, class. Take some time to try to understand it, no? I'm doing the long cut muna, class, kasi I want you to understand what's happening with the computational residuals, no? Okay, are you following? Are there any questions? Following ba? Okay, good, good. Thank you. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. Okay, so if you run this, class, Control Enter. Ay, sorry. Hindi ko na-enclose. Spread one. There you go. Pred one, class, predicted value to. No? So I'll kunin natin yung residual one, res1. Res1 is yung actual value ni Apple 1, which is this one. I'm using the combined returns or adjusted returns. Pareho lang yan, di ba? Here, Control C. We should have named this Apple 1. Anyway, andito na eh. This is your actual value, class. Actual value number 1, okay, minus yung predicted value number 1. Control C, Control V. Diba? And then, let's put it in, let's put, na lang, semicolon, and then rest 1, para i-print niya. There. Okay? Para i-print lang to, class, ha? Nag-semicolon lang ako. Control Enter. There you go, class. Okay, don't mind the, so ito, class, negative 00108. Now, take a look, class, at the residuals here. Punta na tayo dito, class, i-compare natin. No? Ano yung residuals daw dito? Negative 0.001080702. Ito yun, class. Okay? So, I hope you understand, class, that the residuals are simply the difference between your actual value ni Apple adjusted. Kasi si Apple adjusted, class, yung pinipredict natin. Minus the model value. Minus the predicted value. Saan ang galing model value natin? Dito, class. Beta null, saka beta 1. Ba? Times the corresponding x value. So you can do the same for value number 2. O very quick lang, class, no? Okay? At tinan din natin, class, ito, meron pa dito, hindi lang residuals to. So hindi lang coefficients, hindi lang residuals, andito pa, class, yung fitted values. Yan. The fitted values are your predicted values. Ano ba yung fitted value natin dito, class? Ito. Fitted value number 1, 0.0086888. Here, exacto. Si Pred 1 natin. Okay? And how many predicted values do we have, class? How many, i-view ulit natin. View, combined returns. How many predicted values? How many, 1256. As many observations, class. So that will be the number of your residuals, the number of your predicted values. That's the number of your actual value. Ito yung actual value natin, class, si Y. Okay? Ito yung X natin. Ito yung ginagamit natin in order to predict Y. Okay? LM ni Apple returns associated with SPY returns. Ba? So that's the anatomy of a regression class. Ang difference lang yan sa multiple linear regression, marami tayong ano. We have several independent variables. Okay, pa-thumbs up nga class, please, kung okay tayo so far. Class, are we okay so far, class? Okay, thank you. No questions, huh? I hope that you're able to get it. Okay. All right. So, let's take a look at this class. Ito na. This is our object, di ba? We took a look at our object and we said that there are many things inside this LM model. And we can extract, okay? We can extract inputs or values here, okay? All right, so let's go now to, let's summarize class. Summary LM model, control enter. Okay. You can see here the okay, first, call. It repeats the function that we made, LM, where the formula is Apple returns associated with SPY returns. Data is equal to the object, right? And then here we have some information about the residuals. Okay, minimum value, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, maximum value. So this is very important for diagnostics na when we're checking the model. Because it's not enough to just come up with a model. Ang dali lang gumawa ng model class, so LM lang. Pero ang question, is this model valid? Is this model valid? Okay, so we take a look at the model. So here we have the intercept, diba? This is our beta null. And here we have the values kanina. Ito yung beta null, ito yung beta 1, diba? And then you have standard error, and then t-value, and then p-value. Okay, we're not going so much to diagnose this. Suffice it to say, class, that this the t-value or p-value are very important because this will tell us if your estimate, if your betas are statistically significant. What do we mean by statistically significant? In this case, class, we are doing this is inferential statistics. So, ibig sabihin, meron tayong tinetest na hypothesis dito. For these individual tests, individual tests of coefficients, sorry. So we have the null hypothesis, and then beta null, beta to class is equal to 0. So that's the null hypothesis. Of course, ang alternative hypothesis yan, beta null is not equal to 0. Ganun din dito class sa SPY returns. Ang ang null hypothesis natin dito is beta 1 is equal to 0. Kasi di ba ito si beta 1, ito si beta null. All right. So what's our inference? We have to make an inference about this. The p-value here is 0.3. 301. And what do you do, class? You always compare that with the level of significance, alpha. Okay? Level of significance, alpha. I will not anymore review, class, yung concept ng alpha, no? Kasi you already discussed that in your stat subject. Okay? 0.05 is the usual, okay, benchmark that's used. Sa ibang fields, iba, no? Sa atin, the standard is 0.05. Okay. Now, the p-value here, p-value is greater than 0.05. Kasi 0.32 eh. Diba? And if you recall from your basic stat, we say that when the p is low, the null must go. Let me repeat. When the p-value, when the p is low, L-O-W, the null must go. What do I mean by that? No? Let's take a look at beta null. When the p is low, when you say low, lower than 0.05. So is the p-value for beta null lower than 0.05? No. Therefore, we cannot say the null must go. So hindi natin pwede ma-reject to. So here, we're saying that we fail to reject the null hypothesis that beta null is equal to 0. Okay? So let me go now to beta 1 because this is more important. So here, beta 1 is 2e to the negative 16. That means 2e, 2e, it means you use 2 muna, 2, dito yung number 2 eh, 2. Tapos you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.0. Yan. You go 16 places to the left. That is the p-value there. Okay? And this is very, very low, class, di ba? This is practically 0. So we're saying that here the p-value is less than 0.05. Okay? So what does that tell us? It tells us that we reject the null hypothesis that beta 1 is equal to 0. So reject natin, class, na si SPY returns that this estimate is equal to 0. There's strong statistical reason to believe that this is a value other, beta 1 is a value other than 0. And in fact, the average value is around 1.19. Okay? So, also, tignan nyo, class, no? 3 stars. Anong ibig sabihin ng 3 stars? Dito nyo titignan yan, here. Okay? 3 stars. 3 stars, class, ito yun. It means that your p-value is significant at 0.001 or that's 0.1%. Okay, so that's very low, no? Kasi ang alpha natin 0.05 eh, or 5%. Okay? So this is highly statistically significant. Pag 2 stars, it's significant at 0.01 or 1%. Pag 1 star, it's significant at the alpha level, 0.05. So dapat, class, in order to be statistically significant, dapat at least may isang asterisk dito. Okay? Now, so is this statistically significant? Yes, definitely. Tatlong stars, you know? So what's our regression equation? Si intercept, class, hindi significant. Pero, even if the intercept is not significant, sinasama pa rin sa equation yan. Class. Okay? So therefore, if I'm going to write the regression model for this, it will be, write ko na lang quickly. Maganda sana kung linate ko na lang, no? Tagal. AppleRet, ba? Is equal to, it's beta null. Ito. 0.003, 0.0003, 552. Sorry sa writing plus 1.19 na lang, 1.19 times SPY returns. spiret, no? Plus epsilon sub I. Okay? So that's our model, this one. Notice na yung intercept kahit na hindi significant, kasali pa rin sa equation yan. Okay. I hope you're getting it, class. Okay. And okay, i-share ko na to, no? Share ko na to. Para makita natin yung regression line. So just copy this. Okay, I'll just explain this, no? Okay, tingnan nyo, class. Okay, same thing. Ang object natin yung regression data frame class. No? So this is a list. Tapos ang sa statics natin, si X and Y. No? And then plus, G yung point again, yung kanina, alpha, color, plus G yung smooth. No? Okay, ito may nadagdag. Kanina G yung point lang eh. Ito, G yung smooth. No? Method is equal to LM. Color is equal to red. Standard error is equal to false. No? So this will add now a regression line using linear model. And then plus GG title, and then X label, Y label, theme minimal. Nadagdag tong G yung smooth class. And then yung standard error niya is equal to false. Mamaya papakita ko rin sandali, no? There. There you go, class. Yun ang regression line. Yan. Kung hindi ko tinanggal, class, tong ano, kung tinanggal ko to, no? Try nyo lang, ha? I'm sorry. Okay. What happened, class? What happened? You notice the gray line there, no? So parang standard error yan ng regression line natin. Parang standard deviation siya, no? Okay? So notice na thin siya kasi hindi naman masyado malalaking errors, konti lang yung malalaking errors, no? Notice that here, dito medyo yung gray line medyo mataas ng konti compared to this one. Kasi dito, matataas dito yung mga residuals. Pero dito, class, halos wala, no? Kasi dito nag-congregate yung mga ano eh. Alright? Control Z. Okay. So, kung ayaw yung ilagay yung standard error na yan, SE is equal to false lang. Okay, so if I rerun this, hindi niya linagay yung standard error. Okay, because yun, it might be relevant for some lines na malalaki talaga yung errors. Ito hindi. Okay, it's almost time. Okay. Dito, class, linagay ko na yung, yung components niya. In-explain ko na yan dito. Okay. Pati yung James Smooth dito. So, okay. So, we'll continue with this next time. Dito tayo nag-end. Yung confidence interval na to. Okay. We will continue. And tingnan nyo na lang din tong mga, yung R squared at saka adjusted R squared. We'll discuss that next meeting. Okay. So, thank you so much, class, uh, for coming. Thank you for uh, joining me.